Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Beyond Tomorrow Recruiting. Today, we're going to talk to Coach Dallin Spencer at Wenatchee Valley College. Dallin has a lot of experience at the high school level, at the AAU level, and now he's coaching at the college level. So he's got a lot of really good insight on the process of getting noticed, getting seen, and things that he looks for when he's recruiting high school kids. So let's run this intro, and then we'll jump into some questions. Hey, what's up, everybody? Again, it's your boy Landon Cummings, aka Coach Landon. Today, on this episode of Beyond Tomorrow Recruiting, we have Coach Dallin Spencer from Wenatchee Valley College. We're going to talk to Coach about a few comparisons between NWAC and NJCAA and a couple other things. So, Coach, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into a couple questions.
Yeah, like Coach Landon said, I'm Coach Dallin Spencer. From Utah, played at Lehigh High School 4 years, then went to play in the NWAC for Grace Harbor College. Played there 2 years. COVID happened, took a COVID year. Once that was over, kind of just wanted to be done, wanted to coach, and so I jumped into that and started at Skyridge High School. It was I knew the coach when I was a kid, growing up through high school. So I just reached out and seen if he had a spot on his staff. He did. So I was the assistant. I was an assistant JV coach my first year. Second year, a good buddy of mine got the job out at Stansbury High School. Took that and was the varsity assistant coach. So, and then now I'm coaching out at Wenatchee Valley College for my former college coach, Coach Vargas. So yeah, doing that now.
There you go. So at Wenatchee Valley, so you've kind of made the progression through the high school ranks, made it to the college ranks. So your role at Wenatchee, as far as connecting to recruits, going out watching games, scouring social media for those video clips, kind of talk about your role in the recruiting process for your program.
Yeah. Well, with me, it's a lot nicer, I would say, as a first year college assistant, I guess, is Coach Vargas and I have a good relationship, and he knows that, I judge kids hard. It's hard to surprise me. It's hard to make me happy with what you do on the court. And so he's kind of turned over recruiting to where we're both kind of liaison with it, but I have free reign to. I mean, I'm on Instagram and Twitter all waking hours of the day. Emails, recruiting services, going to tournaments out in where we're at in Washington. I go to Portland or Seattle and we go watch tournaments in basketball. And it's basically, I kind of head it up. And if I find a kid I like, I turn it over. And, if the head coach approves it, then I start conversations and information about school and visits and interest on with the kid. So I'm kind of the recruiting guy for our staff right now. So
Very nice. And at that level, a lot of schools don't have multiple coaches, but they have one or two that they kind of delegate certain things to. And the head coach oversees the function of the program. As far as some of the tools that are available or at a player's disposable that probably could be more valuable than others, and as far as getting coaches' attention, what tools do you find are the most helpful to connect you and players, whether it's the player reaching out to you or you reaching out to them?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kids out there. There's more basketball players than there are coaches. And for us in the NWAC and where Coach Vargas and I at Wenatchee, where we have it, it's if kids want to get recruited, I mean, our emails are public. You go to the website athletics, you can find the emails or Twitters or Instagrams. And really the biggest thing is I've found is like recruiting services. Like there's one I like using is Preps Recruiting. I know that you have one that you use, and I mean, you've referred me to a lot of kids, and so I appreciate that. And a lot of it is just friends of friends in the industry. As kids, players. If you meet a college coach or meet somebody that knows a college coach, you can't be afraid to get told no or be told you're not good enough. It's like there's things to work on, but the biggest thing is post your things on Twitter, tag college coaches, tag friends, put them on. If you know people like that do recruiting services or things, tag them, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram. you know AAU tournaments are great, but there's a lot more AAU tournaments than college coaches can get to. So a lot of it is just getting film out there, creating, a title that shows well, that draws some interest or things. I mean, I'm on Twitter a lot, and there's a lot of videos that kids just post. And I mean, just this morning, I was looking at a kid that plays in Florida, just popped up on the Twitter feed. And so I was just watching some highlights. And I mean, right now I'm currently out in Utah. So, I mean, that's across the country, but it pulls up on social media. It's a wonderful thing. But I'd say a lot of my recruiting and a lot of where I'm finding kids is through recruiting services that, as a college coach, you have access to, and kids on those services, the emails and film get sent out, and talking to you and another buddy of mine that does recruiting and things. It's just, the biggest thing is finding people that you trust know the game. And if they're willing to vouch for a kid, then it's worth my time to watch them. Or, you know, AAU coaches that I know do a good job. Then with their programs and their kids, it's like I'm more inclined to work with those kids or talk to those kids or ask about their programs and see if they have anybody.
Yeah. The
So,
network is a powerful thing in the recruiting game. And
yeah.
I've seen a lot of kids get offers and opportunities because their AAU coach or their high school coach knew a guy or something, where they were just shooting
Mm-hmm.
arrows in the dark trying to get anybody to respond to a message, and they weren't having a lot of success. And then their AAU coach, their high school coach, somebody who knows somebody at another level said, "Hey, I got a kid for you to check out." And that kind of was the first domino
Mm-hmm.
that fell, and it just kind of had a ongoing residual impact. So I agree with that. Um,
Yeah, I've seen guys that have no connections at all. They just know that you can find coaches' emails.
mhm,
And so they just, like you're saying, shooting shots in the dark. As coaches, we always are looking through our email. So
mhm,
I mean, if the subject header's interesting or intriguing, we're gonna open it.
yeah, I love that. These kids need to get their parents involved in writing some of these emails, because some of them aren't very
Mm-hmm.
eye catching, and it's like, ooh, you should have got some help out there, young man.
Yep.
Um,
And then you open them, and it's like they were writing it between passing periods in class or something. You're like,
Sit down and put some
I don't know what to tell you.
in there. Um, so this next question, this one's always fun for me because I played in the NJCAA and the NWAC. I know the difference between Cascade Conference and different levels of the NAI,
Mm-hmm.
different, mid majors and P5s at the D1 level. And so it's always fun for me to get input for people on different levels, because a lot of people have a misconception of the difference between the NWAC and NJCAA Division 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Um, so you're recruiting a kid, and you tell him that you want him in the program and he could help you guys out, and he says, "Well, I really just want to play in the NJCAA." How do you counter this misconception that these kids have, that there's a better chance to get recruited at an NJCAA than at a out of an NWAC or different things? It's funny because being in the shoe circuit, people say, "Oh, you guys are playing at in Puma. Maybe you guys aren't going to get as many guys at your games as Adidas games will." But Adidas gets a lot of guys, but they don't get as many guys as Nike does at their camps. But what people don't realize
Yeah.
is, you know, if you're playing on a shoe circuit in a live event, you're probably going to be seen by more college coaches than at your best local event possible.
Yep.
there's a reason to that. I feel like that difference between NWAC and NJCAA is not as big as kids think it is. So you're recruiting a kid. He says, "I love Wenatchee Valley, but I think I need to play in the NJCAA." What's your counter to that?
My thing is just I'm big on like opportunity for a kid, you know. If the kid a lot of the conferences now, NJCA and NWAC now, a lot of the kids, it's once you get about 6'5", once you hit 6'5" and you can play, you could go either way, right? And so there's a lot more NJCAA in places where kids are closer to home. And a lot of it is they just haven't been exposed to the NWAC, you know. Everybody has that dream of, you know, I want to play at the highest level I can. And every kid should have that and play with that. But for me, I approach it as, you know, here at the NWAC, we're smaller campuses, you know, it's more family type environment for kids, like especially at Wenatchee Valley. That's a big precedence we put on is it's a family. And, you know, you go to the NJCAA, you kind of the difference is it's a bigger scale, right? You're a small fish in a bigger pond at that level. The NWAC's a smaller pond, but you work hard and play. I mean, I've got kids that are playing NJCAA basketball right now that have a year eligibility and want to go somewhere else, and they're hitting me up, you know. So it's to me, I really think it's just exposure. More people are exposed to the national JUCO colleges and level than they are the NWAC because it's like the shoe circuit thing, like you're saying, you know. Well, Nike and Adidas have been around longer, or they have more guys coming in and out of it, you know. That's nothing to say about Puma and Under Armour and New Balance. That there's guys for every level everywhere, you know. But it's all about exposure and it's all about how long you've been doing your thing and you know. And I mean, it's no secret the NWAC, the Oregon schools you get full tuition, Washington schools you don't get full tuition. So that plays into a lot of a factor of, well, if I go NJCA, I get full ride. You
Mhm.
know, if I go Washington, NWAC, I'm gonna have to pay. There are a lot more smaller towns or whatever. But for me, I mean, when a kid, I've had kids tell me that, and I'm just like, hey, just come visit the campus, come see that, you know, the court's the same size, the hoops are the same height, and you come for a year, you move on, you know. You come for a year, you move on, you go NJCAA. Most kids at most levels, you're going to be redshirting and things, and most kids don't want to. Where in the NWAC, most if you're getting looks by the NJCAA, like I tell kids, you could come to this conference and play.
Mhm.
If coaches are telling you, hey, you're going to be, you know, competing for spots and redshirting, I mean, the NWAC's definitely not the NJCAA, but it's good basketball
Yeah,
and it's tough and it's physical.
yeah,
So that's kind of where I push kids is, are you trying to play or you just, you know, do you want to play or do you not? Like, you know, every kid has their agenda,
yeah, for
but a
sure.
lot of the times the NWAC fits agendas once I put it out there for you. You know, they've never been introduced to the NWAC.
So I know you said the NWAC fits the right agenda of playing at the next level, getting more exposure, working on your game, trying to open
Yeah.
doors for after college. It fits that. But when we're talking fit, I also want to talk about the type of players that you guys specifically look for at Wenatchee. And you were saying, you know, the game is physical, it's still college basketball. These are still the best guys that were playing high school basketball last 2 years. So, what is the right fit for Wenatchee Valley, and what does an NWAC player have that guys that can't play at the next level don't have?
A lot of it with the NWAC is grades. I mean, where we don't give full tuition, so if you don't have grades coming out of high school, it makes it harder. You know, if you have grades, school's got money for you. You know, um, A lot of it is just kids that can't play at the next level. They're not strong enough, not fast enough, too small, don't shoot the ball well enough. You know, basketball is a shooter's game. If you can shoot the ball and run, you're going to find somewhere. Um, for us, where we're at in Wenatchee, our program, our style, you got to be able to play defense. You have to be able to play defense. You have to guard your position. If there's any doubt in my mind that you can't guard your position, probably it's going to be, I'm going to struggle putting you on the floor, putting you in a jersey. We're looking, we like that 6'2" to, 6'2" to 6'4" guard, stocky, can shoot, can handle it, because you're going to get pushed around. And we need guys that are compact and strong that can come off the ball screens, make a two-handed chest pass the right way, make it strong, make a good bounce pass. I like our bigs, that 6'5" to 6'8". The misconception is you need 7-footers. You need 7-footers. Well, in our conference, you don't have a lot of 7-footers, and most 7-footers need other big guys to sit and bang with them, where if you have that, I think that stretch four, that 3 stretch 4 kind of is a perfect prime position for the NWAC, because that's pretty much what the conference is, and that's what we look for. We look for a lot of kids, and that's kind of what my goal is, and what I look for is kids that can play mid-range basketball, kids that can post up, kids that can, pick and pop. If you're going to play that 3-4-5, you got to be able to pick and pop, and you got to be able to do it at a high clip. If you're going to be a 1 and a 2, you got to be able to, I got to trust that you're not going to turn the ball over 5, 6, 7 times a game. Like, I'll give you 1 or I'll give you 2, you got to be strong. You got to be smart. Grades is a big thing for us. We, like I said earlier, we run our program like a family. I mean, we coach you hard. And like I said, I'm not easily impressed. I'm not easily surprised. So we coach you hard. The little things that, you might think aren't a big deal are the deal breaker for us, communication. If I come watch you play, or I'm watching film and you're not talking, or you take a play off from talking on defense, it's not going to work for us. I tell our guys all the time that you can't ever over communicate, but you can under communicate. And I see that a lot with high school kids now. And like, my thing would be telling them, I'd tell any kid that wants to play at the next level, be the loudest guy on the floor, be the loudest guy on the bench. Your kid, I mean, in high school, people are going to think you're obnoxious, and you're just loud and you're obnoxious. But college coaches like that, I love it. If you got to be able to communicate offense, defense, because at the college level, it gets complex, screens, flare screens, dribble handoff, fake DHOs, all this, and you got to be able to communicate it. You got to be able to rebound. So, I mean, really the biggest thing is, it comes down to me is, can you rebound? Can you communicate? And are you strong? Because I can teach you to score. I can teach you to run an offense, but I can't teach you to communicate. You got to I can tell you how to do it, but you got to want it. You got to want to rebound, and you got to be able to want to, like, get bigger in the gym and not get pushed around. Because the JUCO basketball, kids may be a year older out of high school, but they're 10 times more physical and they're 10 times stronger.
Yeah. The physicality definitely sets a tone for the different levels. And I tell people all the time, just because it's NWAC basketball, don't think these guys haven't been working out, because they're in the same position you are. They want to be here for a year and then go on, maybe 2 if they need it. But
Yeah.
it's so competitive. That's the thing I always tell people. I'm like, you think because there's 8 schools and 4 parts of the conference that there's going to be, it's easy to make it to the NWAC. Like, it's not easy to make it to college basketball. And once you make it, then the real work begins. Like, you think you work hard enough to outplay guys and to make the team. Wait till you're on the team, and the amount of work that goes into being a college basketball player at a small school where you're riding a bus to most games. Like, hoping you have a good.
It's a dogfight.
Yeah, it is. It's
And
crazy. So it's a
it's a
dog.
dogfight,
Yeah.
and these kids are just like, you get to junior college basketball, they're, all walks of life, you know, good rate, good upbringing, bad upbringing, good grades, bad grades. I mean, I tell guys all, like, you're going JUCO because you either tricked off high school, or you just didn't, or you just, or you messed up. You
Hmm.
didn't care, you messed up along the way, you know. Or, there are the ones that are good enough. They just, they want to take a chance at getting better offers, you know. But everybody in that gym, from the time you get to college, anybody you play in college, they've got a chip on their shoulder. And the good ones have a dog in them, where in practice it's a fight. Like, you're not friends,
Yeah.
you're brothers, but you're not friends. Like, we're going to compete and we're going to battle, and you got to be able to be coachable. I mean, if coach tells you to do something, you better do it, you know, and you got to be able to compete. If you're not competitive, junior college basketball will eat you alive.
Hmm. It'll definitely test your love and your passion for it
It
as a
really will.
player for sure. So that's the side of coaching that I'm looking at. Like, this is really gonna be, yeah. It's
It tests it, but if, I mean, those kids that don't love it, you can tell within 2 weeks,
yeah,
you know. But if you love it, like anything, you'll put up with anything if you love something,
yeah,
and that's what college basketball is. It'll show you if you really love it, or if you were just good at it, or if you're just an IG hooper, you're just there for the film and the jersey and the picks and what comes with it. You
yeah.
got to want to work.
The status. Yeah, for sure. No, I love it all, man. So this is the part of the interview towards the end. We just call it, the fourth quarter. It's the end of the game. 2 minute warning. Um, I just give you open mic, let you drop some words of wisdom on probably the kids that'll watch this, and maybe even the parents of the kids, high school
Yeah.
juniors right now going into that senior year. Younger guys, freshmen, sophomores, trying to figure out how to navigate the recruiting adventure from their standpoint. Just kind of give them some words of advice and some inside info from a coach.
Yeah. I'd start it off with, recruiting process wise. Um, Junior college is different. Uh, we don't really look at freshmen, sophomores, just because there's still 2 more years for them to develop and grow and potential, you know. Um, but we're always interested, if a kid's, we always like to have a network and talk. And I'm always open to build relationships, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there at
Right.
any age. Juniors and seniors, that's when it cuts down for you, that's when you got to start, showing coaches you're serious. And as it's okay to have parents help you write an email or compose a text or put film together, remember that it's your recruiting process. It's not your mom and dad's. It's your future. It's your college. You know, take your mom and dad's counsel into, advice, and they're your mom and dad. You got to listen. But when it comes to contacting coaches and things, as a player, you got to do it. College coaches want to see, and me especially, I want to see that you're really into it and in it for you and in it for, like, the to play basketball. You know, having parents reach out's okay, but you, as the player, you need to be the one heading up and leading and controlling the recruiting process.
Mhm.
Once you're a junior and senior, you're old enough, you're old enough to make your decisions, and you're old enough to, talk to coaches on your own and message them and email them and contact them. Don't have your mom and dad do your bidding for you. Show a coach that you have initiative and you want to do it, because guess what? When you go to college, mom and dad's not there.
Exactly.
You know, you're the one that has to go shop. You're the one that has to decide when to go to bed. You're the one that has to decide to go to class. And so for me with recruiting is when I have kids that, they take the initiative, and the kids all, planning it, hey, these are the dates that I'm available for a visit. What works? Or, hey, I'd like to, I'm interested, this and that, whatever. it shows me that when schools comes and you're getting yelled at and you're getting coached hard every day, like, by me and Coach Vargas, it shows us that you're actually competent enough that you're going to be able to make smart decisions. You're going to be there for the right reasons. Um, College basketball, there's a reason that a lot of colleges, they call it a brotherhood, you know, in a lot of walks of life. You make coaches and coaches meet coaches, and it's a brotherhood. You're not friends. You can be friends afterwards, but I've adopted a saying called brothers, not friends. Um, don't be afraid to call people out, you know, make sure your boat's straight and you're going in the right direction. But you can't be friends. You got to be brothers. And brothers call each other out. They fight, they argue, they're competitive. They don't want to lose to each other. Friends are just there, for support. In college basketball, it's a brotherhood. The team that wins at the end of the year is the team that's got the tightest brotherhood. Takes talent, it takes luck for sure, but it's hard work, and it takes who's tightest knit group and who can trust each other and take coaching. But for me, really, it's a lot with kids, with recruiting, and parents. Parents, trust your kid. Give them counsel, give them advice. Hey, like, I know that you don't like this type of stuff, but this is where, or hey, we can give you this, or we can help here. But and I'm not saying that it's bad if parents reach out, but have your kids, help your kids do it. Um, your kid. I mean, it sounds crazy, but college coaches really don't like going to games, and mommy and daddy are just outlandishly yelling and screaming and getting all upset with officials or coaching, or just be there to cheer your kids on. Because in college, like it or not, we care about the kid. you know Mom and dad, they're not going to be there all the time. You want to come, we love it, we welcome it, but it's about being their biggest supporter. um and so don't get caught up in trying to just, I got to be cool, I got to do this. Like, if you want to play college basketball, you're going to have to do things that in high school people think it's weird. You're going to have to go to work, you're going to have to work out, you're going to have to, everyone says it, but give up parties, give up weekends, get in the gym, you know, work on your ball handling, work on your shooting, work on defensive slides. But the biggest thing is social media is a big thing for us. And, you know, don't be posting dumb stuff. It's, if you're an employer, would you want it posted? Would you want it seen? Would you want a video of it? Be careful, because there's eyes and ears everywhere. Especially at JUCO and college in general, but the NWAC, it's small towns. Everyone knows everybody. There's eyes and ears and cameras everywhere. Be smart. My biggest thing with, biggest cheat code I could give you is just be the hardest worker in the gym.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you play. I mean, I've recruited kids from 1A schools. I've recruited kids from 6A schools. Kids on shoe leagues, kids in no shoe league. It's just don't get caught chasing something. Just stay true to you and keep pushing film out. Keep working hard, keep talking. And you can find coaches' emails. So if you want to get your film out, send it out. You may get a response, you may not. But, that's kind of where I would put kids, and tell kids is just don't be afraid to step out of, the box.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be a college basketball player, you got to live outside the box.
Sure.
So
Very true. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I know you're enjoying the calm before the storm right now, before you
oh
got to
yeah.
head back. So I definitely appreciate you taking some time out and jumping on here with me. So um, keep an eye on the Twitter machine, because there's a lot of
Oh, for sure.
big kids that are hitting me up, and I'm like, oh, who's this kid? Wow, he's pretty good. So I'll be reposting until I become selfish with the knowledge. But until then,
Uh-huh.
sharing the knowledge.
I'm always
It's all
I'm
public.
always open to looking at kids and film.
There you go. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Always.